Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I have with me members of our council, Chairman Ricky Templett, Councilman Scott Walker, Councilman Dino Bonanno, Councilman Byron Lee, Councilman Dominic Impastato, and Councilwoman Jennifer Van Rankin. I also have Dr. Jerry Satanovich, Dr. Joe Cantor with the state, our sheriff, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto, our superintendent of schools in Jefferson Parish, Dr. Kate Brumley. I also have Todd Murphy with our Jefferson Parish Chamber, Jerry Bologna with JEDCO, and Tim Coulon representing the Jefferson Business Council, along with our emergency operations manager, Joe Valiente. Just a brief update on the case, on the COVID-19 cases so far. I'm told right now in the state there's 136 positive cases with 3, unfortunately, deaths that we have had. And I think we have just surpassed testing 300 individuals. So certainly I've also seen the high level of rankings that New Orleans and Jefferson Parish rank statewide in terms of per capita infections that we have. So it's very, very critical. Before we begin, I want to personally thank our council members. This past couple days, we have had to re-envision and reimagine what Jefferson Parish government looks like. And without their support, individually and personally, to help us do this, we wouldn't be where we are. I do feel like we were ahead of the curve, but it's just because the administration and the council have been working so closely together to ensure that Jefferson Parish citizens are going to get the very critical services they need in the upcoming weeks. And I do believe that that is our mission, is that we continue to stand up the critical needs of Jefferson Parish. So with that, we have, as of last Friday, we have moved to an essential services only type of government. We don't want to bring in the public unnecessarily. We want to protect our employees, and we want to make sure that they have the resources they need to deliver the critical services. We have put on our website for any questions, and I know many constituents have been reaching out to our council members. We have been fielding questions, a more detailed listing, department by department, of what will continue on as essential services. So I invite everyone to look on our website. We pushed it at www.jeffparish.net. We pushed it out on social media as well. We as a government are looking at ways to adapt. We are looking at teleworking. We're looking at dispersing our employees. And if we have sort of a crowded room of essential employees, we're looking at finding other locations so we can engage in those social distancing measures that are so very critical. We're looking at flexing our hours. The council members, and I'm going to invite the chairman to come up, we're looking at emailing and phoning and doing things online. So we are certainly looking at being creative to make sure that we are helping you as much as we can, and there is little disruption as possible. The governor earlier today issued restrictions of no gatherings of more than 50 people. I was looking at a press conference earlier. President Trump is suggesting no gatherings larger than 10 people. The governor also issued that casinos, bars, and movies and gyms are closed, and that restaurants will be drive-through and pickup only. And so I want to personally say that I know this is a different life that we're living. I understand that there's an economic hit that we're all taking. I do believe that the more aggressive we can be at flattening the curve, at reducing the peak early on, number one, it ensures that our medical resources can keep up and that the sickest in our community and the most vulnerable in our community are going to be able to have those medical resources that they need. And number two, knowing that this is complete community spread in our community, being very aggressive on the front and taking the economic hit that I know everybody's taking is going to shorten the time that we're taking the economic hit. So I do believe that aggressive measures now will get us through this time quicker, and it will be a sooner time that we can get back to the wonderful normal lives that we are used to living. Do this for, I keep hearing, and I think we've turned as a community, I'll be okay. Well, again, I'll say it. You might be okay, you're healthy, you're younger, your parents might not be okay, your grandparents might not be okay. So it is everyone's responsibility as a business owner, as a neighbor, as a family member, as a friend, to take these measures, aggressive measures, on a personal level. I absolutely have faith in this community. I have seen those of us right here, standing here, that represent so many sectors in this community, in Jefferson Parish, work together like we have never seen before. And so many times we do good work and we kind of stay in our own lanes, and in this past probably week and a half, I have seen more collaboration and more creativity and more discussions across sectors than I have ever seen before. And I think that that is the only way we're going to get through this as a community, is that all sectors are working together. Again, I want to repeat, do those things that you should know just very easily. You need to stay home if you are sick. The doctors say the best way to get on top of this thing, to stay in front of it, to reduce and flatten that curve, is to stay home if you're sick. Wash your hands frequently. Do not touch your face. Wipe frequently, touch surfaces very often, and of course engage in those things that you're seeing with the closures that we're doing. Engage in those social distancing practices. So with that, I would like to invite Dr. Cantor to come up to give us the latest. And then also what is new, very new, is that our government is now really regulating private industry even more so than we have ever seen. And I do want to invite members of our business community as well as our council chairman up. So with that, I will next introduce Dr. Cantor.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks for the rest of Parish leaders for being here today. I've had the pleasure of being in close contact with Madam President over the past week or so, and I can assure you that she keeps very close tabs on best practices around the country. And we certainly feel like those types of actions have been instituted statewide and in Jefferson Parish particularly. You saw the governor today announce some rather aggressive social distancing measures. This is on the heel of similar measures being passed by Governor Baker in Massachusetts and some other states around the country. Make no mistake, we have significant community spread of the virus in the greater New Orleans region, and we need to take aggressive action. And people will need to accept that life will be a little bit abnormal for the next few weeks. And I want to explain why that is. We have been told by the CDC, based on what they know of outbreaks in other communities, that we have a window of opportunity this week and next week to really affect the trajectory of this outbreak. And we intend to take maximum advantage of that window of opportunity. What we are trying to do is called flattening the curve. If you think of a certain number of people becoming infected in total by the virus, it makes a big deal if those people get infected over 3 weeks or 3 months. Think about it like this. If it's going to rain 20 inches, it makes a difference if that happens over 2 hours or 2 weeks. That's what we're talking about. The point of all this is so we spread it out, we space it out, and we don't overwhelm the healthcare system. We keep critical life-saving services available for the people that we know are going to need it. We have a window to really do that right now, and I ask everyone's patience and willingness to make small sacrifices in their daily lives for the greater good. Going out, going to a bar, going to a club, having a party, it's not worth putting someone you love at risk. We've had 3 deaths so far. We certainly will have more. It's just not worth it. And I beg everyone's cooperation in this, even though it's uncomfortable and inconvenient. Thank you.
I want to invite Sheriff Lapinto forward because I know I was fielding some questions regarding the Sheriff's Office. So, Sheriff Lapinto.
The Sheriff's Office will always continue to remain open. We're still going to respond to services. We want to make sure, though, that the public realizes that those services could be limited. If we can take a report by phone, we want to take it by phone. We want to limit the amount of people that we have out there. What I've done in order to try to make sure we maintain our population of our sheriff's deputies that can actually respond to calls, we've split our 911 center between the East Bank and the West Bank. That way, if we do have somebody that is affected, we have lessened the amount of people that would be quarantined. I've suspended all roll calls to have less contact between our deputies themselves. They'll be coming out on the road at their regular given shifts and trying to really limit the amount of employees that we have any type of close contact with each other. Our jail's going to continue to be open. We don't want to have anybody in it. if we can get parents to take care of their children. We want to be able to continue to offer the services that we have, but services are not always just with COVID-19. I want people to realize that beds will be filled very soon. It may be your family member that has a heart attack. You'll call 911, but we won't have a place to be able to bring them to. That's what's serious about this type of disease, is that the hospital beds are what we can control. Many of the members that are right here behind us, we don't have a control over that. We're relying off our healthcare system to provide what services they can, and they do a great job of it. But when they are overrun, that's simply the case. Our 911 will still be able to respond to emergency type calls. But when the call requires treatment at a medical facility, that medical treatment may not be available. Do your part. Do your part in this community. Stay home. Try to go outside. Do something in your backyard. We're supposed to live. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves. This is not a panic. We're going to have a new normal here in Jefferson Parish. If you can be a part of the solution, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to invite our superintendent of our Jefferson Parish School System, Dr. Kay Brumley.
So a few quick updates related to the school system. First of all, we already miss our kids, and it's Monday, but we understand that they are where they need to be away from the schools at this present time. We also wish that we could do more, but we are going to do what we can to fill the void, fill the gap for our students and our families. So this Wednesday, the 18th, we will begin two very important measures. The first will be grab-and-go lunches, or grab-and-go meals, which will include a lunch and a breakfast for the next morning. And also we'll be opening up on Wednesday online learning options for our families that have the technology to participate in that. And for the families that do not, they will have student learning packs, which are paper-based, that they can pick up at the meal sites. So again, our meal sites will offer grab-and-go lunches, but at the same time, they will be able to pick up a breakfast for the next day. Online options for learning are available at jpschools.org beginning Wednesday. Paper-based options for student learning will be available at the meal sites. Would like to mention that this is not just for JP School students, so it doesn't matter if you're a JP School student in a traditional district school, a member of a charter school, parochial, private, or homeschool. We will provide meals, grab and go, and online resources for learning. Families can email their teachers. Those email addresses of teachers are available at jpschools.org. Also, we're setting up a homework helpline at 504-349-8999. 504-349-8999. That will be open beginning Wednesday from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. I'd like to announce our 13 sites. So we have sites on both sides of the river, which will provide grab-and-go lunch and breakfast, all between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. beginning Wednesday. In Metairie, Bissonnet Plaza and Meisler Middle, in Marrero Middle and Truman Elementary, in Westwego, Emmett Gilbert Elementary and Stella Worley Middle, in Jefferson, Riverdale High, in Lafitte, Fisher High, in Terrytown Elementary, in Gretna at Gretna Middle, in Kenner at GT Woods Elementary, and at River Ridge at Hazel Park Elementary. So again, this Wednesday, grab-and-go meals, 11 to 1, available to all children 18 and under in this parish. Also, learning options available this Wednesday at jpschools.org, or you can pick up a student learning pack at any of our 13 sites.
Thank you, Dr. Brumley. Next, I would like to invite our chairman of the council, Councilman Ricky Template.
And thank you, Madam President. We here in Jefferson Parish are no strangers to natural disasters and man-made disasters. You know, we have survived major floods, major hurricanes, and major oil spills. And we will survive this pandemic. We have some of the most resilient people in the world here in Jefferson Parish in Louisiana, and we will survive this event. We'd like to make sure we say thank you to our law enforcement, our first responders, and our healthcare professionals who are actually on the front lines each and every day, helping and fight this pandemic and trying to keep our people safe throughout the parish. We wanted to make sure that Jeffersonians know that Jefferson Parish Council offices are open for business through email, through phone calls, and through text messages. We are available to keep government moving here in Jefferson Parish. There have been calls and questions if we will continue with our council meetings. Our next council meetings is more than 2 weeks away, So this is a very fluent issue that's taking place, which you see in front of us. And we will evaluate that and see if we can continue to have a council meeting in about 2 weeks. Most importantly, you hear the public that might be hit the hardest is our elderly through this situation. And we would ask that please call and check on the elderly within your neighborhood, within your family, and within our community. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, these are unprecedented times, and the hit on the private sector is a great one temporarily. I know personally I have ordered out and have had delicious meals from 4 restaurants the past couple nights, and I encourage all of you to do that through the drive-through and the pickup services, because who wants to cook every night? So with that, I want to invite our Todd Murphy, who is with our Jefferson Chamber, to speak about the private sector.
Thank you, Madam President. As you can see, we are surrounded, the people behind me are very, very talented. I think we have a very competent, efficient, and aggressive council that's going to work with our parish president, with our sheriff, our school system, to bring this back after this terrible situation that we're going through. So I represent the business, the Jefferson Chamber, and I'm here on behalf also of Jerry Bologna with Jetco, Tim Coulon with the Jefferson Business Council. My message to the business owners is that we are going to work with this council and with this parish president to get very creative in how we can work our magic in opening up everything for delivery. Whatever we can deliver, we're going to try to deliver to the homes. As someone that runs an organization of 8 employees, I understand the frustration. I understand how heartbreaking it is to send employees home to go work out of their homes, to postpone events, to put things off, all these things that we've planned. I get it. I'm living it as well. But I would ask that you please cooperate, be patient, help us, give us your feedback on what we can do to be creative. You can go to jetco.org. There's a survey there that you can fill out. There's some information about loans that might be available to you depending on your situation. We are working at the Chamber, jeffersonchamber.org, with our congressional delegation on SBA loans that might be available and some other opportunities. So we want your feedback. We'd ask you to go to those 2 websites. You can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Twitter. We're going to be out there communicating our message, but we need your input. But again, my message is please help us, please cooperate, please do everything you can to let your employees work remotely. Find a 17-year-old that can show you the technology. You can pipe into all sorts of video conferencing and do everything remotely without bringing people in. So let's give this a chance so that we can flatten the curve. On behalf of the business organizations that are here, thank you very much.
Thanks again. We want to reiterate, we can still support our local businesses, and it's certainly all of our intentions to do so. So these are the people who are the cornerstone of our community, and we want to make sure we help them get through this time. Also, we are committed to being great partners with our medical service providers. They are on the front line of this. I am in communication with them on a daily basis. So we stand ready to take any of our facilities and help them in any way we can. And I think you see many of those conversations going on through that community. Does anyone else want to speak? Would anyone else like to address the public? So with that, I'm happy to take any questions if there are any questions. Yes.
Clarification if gyms and malls, shopping centers will stay open in Jefferson Parish?
The governor included gyms in his closures. We are in communication with both Lakeside Mall and all of our malls. To be honest, the traffic flow is much lower. So this is really about social distancing. Many of them have tenants that have already chosen to close their doors. So we are in absolute communication with them if they think it's going to get too busy. But you may see some announcements from them coming up. But as of today, I've been in touch. There are just not a lot of people in the malls. So I don't think that's a social distancing issue for us today. But again, this changes very rapidly, and we are in communication with all of our malls. Yes.
Any restrictions for daycares?
Daycares, I'm not sure. The schools? You want to take that? Yeah, Dr.
Yeah, so the governor last week issued an order to close most K through 12 facilities. That order does not extend to private daycare facilities. That certainly could be expanded to include that by force of law in the coming days. and that's on the table. At the moment, it doesn't, but to be clear, the public health messaging is that we don't think that they should be open. We think the congregate activity that happens there is counterproductive for this outbreak. To be honest, it's a difficult decision because it puts a real strain on families. I have a young one myself. And also, we don't know what the caregiver situation is going to be at home. And those are all considerations. But daycares are known to be a risk both to the kids there and to the staff that are there. Even if the kids don't get very sick, they might transmit to other ones. So regardless of what the letter of the order says, the message is we really advise people to close daycares.
And again, that's an example of the conversations we've had. I've reached out to all of our medical providers to say, if you need a facility to stand up a daycare for our first responders, for our medical community, we are partners with them in doing that. So again, that is the type of conversation we're having. Any other question? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.